right. I got Nick Creegan, my guy here.
Mm.
Thank you for tuning in, man. Definitely appreciate you for being a part of the No Script community, man. It's an honor to have you.
Honor to be here, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Oh,
It's actually one of my first interviews of 2021, so this is exciting. This is cool.
you get a chance to dust off some of the, you know what I mean, the PR moves and stuff like that. Some of the answers you're gonna be giving in the future, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. No, I'm excited to dive in with you, and it's good to see you're doing well too, man.
Thank you. You as well, man. I was just saying earlier, you look healthy, man. You look great. You know what I mean? It looks like you've been taking care of yourself through all of this, through COVID, man. How has that experience been for you? I know everybody's kind of absorbing it differently. It's a new time we're living in, just getting into new roles and different things. I know on set you can't wear the mask, so you got to get prepared and things like that. How is everything on your side?
Right, right. So for me, I mean, in terms of COVID, I feel like COVID for me was actually a really good thing. I was able to do a lot more self work, diving into my meditation, working out, a lot of things that I feel like I was giving excuses to because I was too busy. Once everything came to a standstill, I felt like I was just really being a lot more self reliant and cooking for myself, making sure that I was healthy, both mind, body, and spirit. And I feel like, that helped carry me into 2021 on a good page. Um, as you just said, like being on set, it's very different during COVID than opposed to before this happened. I feel like before COVID, everything was just very much free. You know what I mean? Everybody was just talking to everybody, masks off, et cetera, et cetera. But being on set during COVID, it's actually interesting. Like the whole crew, the camera crew, producers, et cetera, everybody has on a mask and a face shield. And the actors are told to wear masks right before you get on set when you're about to film, and then it comes off. So yeah, it's different for sure. But after a few days of it, you're pretty much used to it. And I've had at least 17 COVID tests in the past like
Mm.
month. So I'm used to, the swabs and all that. It's different, but I'm used to it by now. So yeah, I can't complain. I'm just blessed to be working.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like one of the things that we always take for granted is one of the two things I would say is the time that we're able to spend with our loved ones. Sometimes we always say like, we'll get to it later. I'll call so and so later. I'll get in touch with them later, but we never realize that later may not happen. You know what I mean? And now
Right.
it's kind of
Right.
taught us that later might not be there. So let's take advantage of the things we have, and then also our mental and physical space, as you were saying, like taking the time to meditate, making sure you work out and do the right thing in this space and this time. That's very important, man.
Definitely, definitely. I feel like everybody has realized what's really important ever since COVID happened. And, a lot of people unfortunately lost loved ones. People realize that life is finite, nothing is promised, whether it's a job or you being healthy, you could, just like that, get sick or lose your job or anything like that. So you kind of just gotta use your time that you have in the best way possible. And for me, that was, like you said, spending time with loved ones and also spending time with myself. I'd never had that much alone time. And for me, it was a fortunate thing because I needed that time to pour into myself. Whereas I had some other people I knew who they're so used to being around people and they needed that and they were going through a lot of mental stress during that whole time. So I'm just grateful that, I was able to have a positive outlook on it. And the people around me, when they were talking about negative feelings, I was trying my best to, give whatever 2 cents of advice I had. And I feel like the best remedy for all of that is just being able to know that whatever you have in front of you is a blessing. Like a lot of people lost their lives during this, so I feel like even if you lost a job or if you didn't have as much money as you had before COVID, I just feel like the fact that you're able to still be breathing should be a blessing alone.
Yeah, I can't argue with you on that one, man. We definitely, like I said before, we definitely took it for granted a lot, and I hope this gives us the experience to not take that for granted moving forward. Like appreciating the little moments, little things you have, not over proportionalizing things, blowing things out of proportion. That's not a big deal. Like previously, I know for myself, man. Sometimes you let like male ego get in the way, and you'll argue with somebody and be like, man, maybe I'll speak to them next week or next month or something like that. Right now, I'm not talking to them, but man, right now
True.
it's like you can't
I
do that
had
no
some friends that I hadn't spoken to in a long time, and doing some self thinking, like you start to realize that everything is a two-sided two-sided coin. Nothing is just, it's not just black and white. There's always a gray area in every conflict. So this is the time where, it's a that saying of being the bigger person. It's a benefit to do that, and just nothing is ever that serious to not be able to like make amends with somebody that you care about. Because life is short, and if that person passes away, then you're gonna regret not being able to just say, "Hey, man," or "Hey, girl," whatever. Like, I'm sorry, or let's just move forward. We're still both breathing. Let's just find a way to coexist, even if you're not being best friends with them consistently are communicating consistently, it's still okay to just say, hey, just let you know, I still got love for you. I hope you're well. That goes a long way. You never know what somebody's going through. So kindness goes a long way.
Definitely does, man. What I want to do a little bit, I just want to go back a little bit into like the story before we got everything going on right now, and then kind of lead up till now.
Yeah.
So I just want to start at the beginning, like New York, growing up in the '90s. Were you born in New York, or did you move to New York at a young age? How was?
I grew up in Westchester County,
Hmm.
from New York, from Greenburgh, New York,
Yep.
914. And it's funny that I say 914 because I feel like not a lot of people are familiar with where we're from, but grew up there pretty much my whole life. Stayed in New York throughout college, and then I moved out to LA after that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So talk about your experience like in Westchester, especially like in our era where we grew up in, right? Like in the '90s, going to 2000s. I feel like it's a huge melting pot of like all nationalities. Like we
oh
had like
yeah,
Asian families, Indian,
not for
Middle Eastern,
sure. I feel like
Caribbean.
Greenburgh, White Plains area especially was just very much like you said, a melting pot. I was used to having friends of all different nationalities. My family is Jamaican and
Hmm.
Irish, so I mean, growing up, I was bringing like food to school. I was just talking about this with one of my friends earlier today. Actually, my lunchbox to school sometimes would be things like curry chicken and things of that nature. Bringing it to school, rice and peas, and kids either would be like, ew, what the hell is he eating? Or like, yo, can I try some of that? That looks good. So it's
Yep.
like a lot of different mixing of cultures, being able to be exposed to different walks of life. I feel like that's a beautiful thing to be able to do at a young age, because then when you go into the real world, you're not just like blocked into this box of what you're used to. You're kind of used to pretty much a little bit of everything. So we were
Hmm.
fortunate to grow up with that. Obviously, hip hop was a big thing. Um, Growing up in New York in the 90s, we grew up when Ja Rule was popping,
Yep.
Ashanti, Nelly, Yin Yang Twins, all of that, like
Yeah.
real bashers.
Ludacris.
Like people in our generation, like I was just seeing a video the other day of kids these days doing these TikTok dances and stuff. Meanwhile, we're back in high school, we're like on the wall, like jeans stains on the wall because everybody's, catching a dub. So we grew up in a different era, but it was a lot of fun. I feel like, the other thing is I have friends now being turning 30. I have friends now that have kids, and it's just crazy how the kids today are all in their phone, or, we didn't have Zoom. We couldn't do this interview when we were in high school like this. We would
No.
have to be in
Yeah.
the same room, right?
Yep.
So kids today, they're just so used to these screens, and they don't know what it's like to actually interact outside and have real human interactions. Like some kids, their first experience of school is on Zoom right now. They've never even been into a classroom, which is, it's mind boggling. And I really wonder what's gonna come out of the how is this gonna be coming out of COVID? Like, what's humanity gonna be like moving forward? But we
Yeah.
grew up fortunate, I believe, being able to have a very mixed experience and be exposed to a lot of different cultures.